Human rights are very important and allow us to live freely and without hardship. The Ninth Amendment states that the rights will be kept and not denied on the people. The amendment was created after a dispute between the Federalists and Anti-Federalists. Today, the Ninth Amendment is mainly used to limit the government's power from growing too much. It is also used to provide and enforce rights that are not mentioned in the Constitution by courts. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a document about human rights. It was drafted and written down by people all over the world with different cultures and backgrounds. It was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly as a common standard of rights for the whole world. It sets fundamental human rights that are protected and given to the people. Rights are what all humans deserve, no matter when or where they live. If our rights as humans are fulfilled, the world would be more peaceful. Without these rights, people will be very unhappy, selfish, and stealing would be more common. With rights, most of the time, everyone will be happy. Not everyone will steal and be selfish, and the world would be more peaceful. Human rights are standards that allow people to live with freedom, equality, dignity, and justice. Everyone should have these rights. If not for these rights, the rich and powerful would abuse the poor and weak. Without these rights, only the powerful would have power. Human rights gave people the freedom of choosing how to live and express themselves.
What are human rights to you?
Human rights to me means the basic rights that all humans are given and deserve. So, and that's what it means to me. Rights that human beings should have all over the globe.
Judge, can we talk a little bit about the Ninth Amendment?
Absolutely.
It reads, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. What does that mean?
Well, Senator, I think it means what it says. The Ninth Amendment's not been much interpreted by the Supreme Court. There are different views about its effect and its meaning. And I don't doubt that there'll be cases and controversies in which I would, if confirmed, and maybe even if I'm not, asked to construe the meaning of that. It's one of those amendments that hasn't had a lot of judicial attention. We've talked about some others.
Should people fight for their rights in protests? And what is the meaning of losing or winning those fights?
I think if human beings have their rights taken away, they should absolutely fight for their rights. That's what actually this country was built on, fighting for your rights, with so many movements, the civil rights movement, for example. But also globally, you have humans, whenever their rights are taken away from them, they fight for those rights. So, and what it means to win those protests or lose them, you know, some may think if somebody during fighting for their rights or these protests, if they lose their property or their lives, that they've lost. No, I don't agree. I think winning is really getting what you want from those protests and achieving your goal from those protests, even if it means your life is taken or your property is taken or those things that are held dear to you are taken. I think that's where the true victory is.
What might happen when government violates the people's rights?
When a government violates people's rights, this is, unfortunately nowadays, that happens quite often and we don't see a lot of repercussion, but there are still pockets of people who will rise in protests. So depending on what part of the world you're talking about, a government may violate the rights of a people and nothing will happen. And sometimes they'll violate the rights of the people and the people will rise up. So it varies from government to government.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, I'm all for peaceful protesting. I think that everybody has a right to their own opinion and they have a right to their own voice. But I agree with the caller before me. The language, the outraging, the things that we're presenting ourselves to be anymore is worse than a third world country. I mean, even on the Friday before this, yesterday, people bashing windows. When you infringe on someone else's rights, you have a right, but if you infringe on my right, then you're taking my rights away by standing in front of people on interstates that are trying to get to the doctor. It doesn't matter if I was trying to get to my grandmother's house. You have no right to take my right away, to try to alter me and make me stay where I don't wish to be. Things like that should be against the law.
What are human rights?
Human rights are basically the rights of humans to do whatever they want to do according to their beliefs. In a nutshell, that's what human rights are.
What might happen when government violates human rights?
As a human, even though we pick our leaders and put them in the government to protect our rights, but if that happens, first thing, humans, they come out, they get together and try to get rid of that official. Second, if that does not happen, then it will be violent on the road. A lot of people will be coming on the road, and it could be chaos. So basically, a lot of things can happen, but these are some of them.
Human rights are needed in our lives. We use them every day too. Sometimes we use them without knowing that we are using them.